Okay. Some of the questions asked earlier, they were very encouraging because I think there was many valuable confusion, which is good. Means that you are thinking at least. So I will try to sort of cover it tomorrow morning. For now, we will do some, again, I will talk about a practice. Okay, quintessence of practice is basically getting accustomed to this right view. Okay, I'll give you an example from Pema Lingpa, another great Tertun, a prince of a very nice big kingdom wants to go out in the bazaar. And he's the only prince, he's the crown prince. So he goes out and he gets fascinated by the crowd, the bazaar, and somehow, his attendants and the bodyguards and him, they got separated, and then he got lost in this maze. So then he can't go back to palace. That night he had to settle down somewhere in the veranda of somebody, I don't know. Next day, the same thing. And this went on a week, month, year. He has to survive. So he has to beg, he has to work, he has to steal, all sorts of things. In the process, he bumps into some girl, and then they had affair, and then the children came out, and, gradually he has another direction now. He forgot he's the prince. After many years, the king died. And the kingdom, the ministers, they all think, no, we have a crown prince, we've lost. So let's search. And then they meet. And then these ministers say, you are crown prince. You are entitled for the throne. But he has forgotten that view of being crown prince. So he has to now get used to this view of him being the prince. So it's a bit like this. The view you have to get used to. You have been told what is the view. So then through hearing, through contemplation, you have to get used to this view. So whatever it takes to get used to this view, including offering incense, flowers, chanting mantras, reading books about the view, all this is considered practice. Among the many things that you can do to get used to this view, samadhi, the practice of samadhi is very sort of, there's several reasons why samadhi is good. First of all, it's a hands-on. It's economical, doesn't cost anything. Well, I guess the modern people will say it costs time, but. And also, when is isolation, wempo, return, when, luven, when, secluded. When you do the samadhi, the nature of the samadhi secludes you or isolate you from distraction. Okay, this is what I said yesterday, remember? Theoretically, no difference between meditating in a hammock or on a zafu. But sitting straight automatically isolates you from doing things. You can't, meditation, the discipline of meditation is sort of sitting straight. The Zen masters, it's a wonderful method of Zen. The first thing they tell you to just sit, which is wonderful, wonderful. But what you need to know is length, duration, and the posture of how you sit will not determine whether how much prajna you have. You understand? This is important, And I know I have been telling you, was it yesterday, when we sit just for a minute or 30 seconds? I'm telling you this because, I'm talking to bad Buddhists, being myself a bad Buddhist. I'm talking to, those people who have no diligence. So this is why short, consistent, and frequent, a lot of frequency, I'm suggesting. Did I say yesterday to bring something to eat? I forgot to talk about it.
It was yesterday.
Was it?
We're supposed to bring yesterday.
We're supposed to bring it yesterday. Okay, tomorrow we will do it. Can you bring something? Or actually, when you go to lunch, which you are going now, look at your food. Just look. And then, if you want, smell your food. No judgment, nothing. And then taste. Just watch that. Actually, yeah, so maybe you don't need to bring the food or whatever. You do that today already, during the lunch. And, don't show off in a restaurant like this. Don't do that. Things like this we should do discreetly, I think. Yeah, just being there. And I'm not making this up. It exists in the Buddhist training for centuries. For instance, in the Tibetan monasteries, they dance, like they have what they call lama dance. When they dance, they are supposedly actually being in the present of their gesture. But sadly, this is becoming a culture, like the Japanese tea ceremony. Actually, the Japanese are even forgetting that that's a Buddhist practice. The tea ceremony, I've been to tea ceremonies maybe 1 or 2 times too much. Because I told you, I'm bad Buddhist. I get fidgety and it's so long and I don't know what's happening. First time was very nice, elegant and all that. But you can see the whole purpose of tea ceremony is all about being in the present. Like sitting, and they do all kinds of things, like holding the cup.
把杯子拿起来
circling the cup. There's a certain way to drink. And after all that, the tea is not necessarily good, I'm telling you. But that's never the point, you see, that's the thing. It's the whole, these are really priceless technique to be in the present, creating that atmosphere. Yeah, I've been to Zen temple and participated in the tea ceremony. That atmosphere is good. This incense, and then everybody's sitting, and just so incredible. And you could do that, like in Nepal, not the Japanese tea ceremony, but you can always make chapati with a, presentness, nicely, elegantly, or fast, doesn't matter, but you could do that. Stuff like that, like smell that, like achar, the pickle, Nepalese pickle. No judgment, no like getting hooked up by that, just being in the present. You can do this. You can, shopping, yes, do it with a presentness. All of that. Remember, the purpose is not to be distracted. So, again, just to make this worthy, This time let's sit a slightly longer. And yes, please sit and okay, sit.
好，坐着。
And you are hearing these people talking there. And the wind. Air condition. Maybe you are feeling itchy somewhere, sensation. Just notice that. No need to visualize anything. No need to think of good things, such as love and compassion. You are conscious of something, it doesn't matter what, just know that. Okay.
好，
Let me explain to you. This simple technique of knowing, how is this related to this very complicated form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is not other than, how is this related? Why we are not understanding the form is emptiness, emptiness is form, and so on and so forth? Because a thought comes, and usually, instead of knowing this thought, we follow the thought. And this thought creates more thoughts, more entanglement, more principles, values, fixations, wrinkled, underwears. Remember?
So
All this. That's why then it breeds hope, fear. You understand? Now, by being in the present again and again and again, this speed and the strength of creating the habit, the machine, will slow down. Okay. There are at the least, 2 or 3, okay, 2 for now, 2 distinctive reasons, distinctive quality between what I'm talking and 4 seasons resort mindfulness. In the 4 seasons, their motivation is not for Prajnaparamita.
证得般若波罗蜜多。
not for liberation. In the 4 seasons, theirs is to relax, have a good sleep, and to be sober and sane. For us, ultimately, relax is okay, but not relax is also fine, as long as we are getting close to the truth. Okay? The second is the view, the shunyata. You need to remember this one. Otherwise, just being in the present does not necessarily qualify that this technique have become vipassana. Okay, so we are, Prajnaparamita is very difficult to teach. There are so many commentaries. When I was asked to do this, I partially said yes because I remember when I was very young, I came to Nepal first time in my life, and I remember going to this temple. What's the name of the temple where they have the Prajnaparamita text, which is where the near Tamil. Bhagwan Mahal. Okay, you will find out. My grandfather, my mother's father, took me to Nepal. I was 13. And for some reason, upon arriving in Baudhanath, and actually we were the guest of this the Baudhanath temple's what do you call it? Chini Lama, they call them? Yeah? Yeah. This Chinese monk, Lama. So we stayed in his guest house. Anyway, next day, very early morning, my grandfather took me to this temple. And my grandfather told me that this is a very text that was brought back from the Naga, land of the Nagas, world of the Nagas, by Nagarjuna, that it is the original Prajnaparamita text. And we went to this temple, and there's this Nepali sort of a Pandit. He opens one volume, and he read one page in Sanskrit. Completely impressed at the age of 13 when this Pandit read the Prajnaparamita in Sanskrit. It was just so beautiful to hear. And my family, they are die-hard Buddhists, so they made such a big deal about Prajnaparamita and how we have to listen to the sound of him chanting and all of that. So this impression was so big on my head. Anyway, this time when our friends, Nepali friends here, who I was having comfortable relationship with them, watching football in the clubs in Tamil, like midnight, past midnight. Anyway, somehow they managed to put me into this situation to teach Prajnaparamita. It's not an easy task, but I thought for the, as a Tibetan, we're so superstitious, for the tendril, for the auspiciousness. I said, yes, I'll do it. Downloaded a lot of, commentaries, made notes everywhere, and made note in this book, which I just discovered is a notebook printed during the Cultural Revolution. How appropriate, Prajnaparamita, really beyond culture. So anyway, the text is fairly covered. We have few more left about the mantra, which we will talk tomorrow. Those who wish to explore more, please, find out what Nagarjuna, Asanga, they have to say, because they really, really explains thoroughly. Okay, shall we have a song to end?
Hello. मुरली बज्यो मनैमा मनैमा लो माया नमारी हाय मनैमा लो माया नमारी कसको यो सम्झना मेरो कसको यो सम्झना मेरो मनैमा मनैमा लो माया नमारी हाय मनैमा लो माया नमारी तिरी मुरली बज्यो बनैमा बनैमा लो माया नमारे हाय बनैमा